You know that feeling you get, that sort of modern anxiety when you're just talking about something random like new hiking boots?
Oh, yeah.
And then maybe 10 minutes later, you open your phone and there's an ad for those exact boots.
Right. The my phone is listening to me moment. It's pretty much a universal experience at this point.
Exactly. And, usually people tell me, oh, it's just cookies or it's algorithms being really good at guessing. But the documents we're looking at today, they suggest that if you think the threat is just cookies, you are thinking way, way too small.
Yeah. We're basically here to validate your paranoia and then probably make it a little worse, unfortunately.
Right.
The sources we've got for this deep dive are pretty varied. We have Department of Homeland Security reports, i.e. technical standards, and they all paint a picture of surveillance that is much more physical, much more aggressive than just your browser history.
We're talking about actual hardware, like fake cell towers, invisible fences, and then technology that tracks the body itself.
It's a clear escalation. So I think the best way to tackle this is in 3 layers. We'll start at street level with the hardware, the Stingray.
Okay.
Then we'll move up to the software layer, which is the Geofence. And then level 3, where things get really, almost sci-fi, is the wireless body area network.
All right, let's start there. At ground level, the Stingray. I hear that name in spy movies, but these documents make it sound like a pretty common piece of kit.
It is. The technical term is a cell site simulator, or an MSI catcher. Stingray is just the brand name that's stuck, like Kleenex.
Well, what does it actually do?
Yeah.
How does a box in a van hijack my phone?
It's a classic man-in-the-middle attack. So think about how your phone works. It's always looking for a signal, right? It's playing a game of Marco Polo
Shouting, Marco!
to find a tower.
Exactly. And the nearest tower shouts, Polo.
But here's the thing. Your phone is designed to connect to the strongest signal it can find. It cares more about signal strength than who the tower actually is.
It's promiscuous.
That's a good way to put it. So a Stingray just exploits that. It rolls up to a location, maybe a protest or just a neighborhood, and it blasts out a signal that is just a tiny bit louder, a bit more powerful than the real AT&T or Verizon tower down the street.
It just drowns out the legitimate network.
Completely. And your phone sees this super strong signal and just latches on. And once that happens, the operator of the Stingray has your phone's unique ID, the IMSI, your precise location, and a whole lot more.
But wait. Modern networks, 4G, 5G,
Yeah.
they're all encrypted, right? You can't just listen in on those calls.
That's true, they are. But this is the really clever or scary part. This is where the downgrade attack comes in. The Stingray doesn't just listen, it actively manipulates your phone.
How?
It sends a command that basically says, hey, sorry, the 5G network is congested right now. You need to switch down to 2G.
2G, like from 20 years ago. Why can my phone even do that?
For legacy support, mostly.
No.
Emergency coverage in rural spots. But the critical thing about 2G is that it has this huge security flaw. The tower doesn't have to prove its identity to the phone.
The phone just trusts it.
It trusts it blindly, and 2G encryption is, well, it's either incredibly weak or just not there at all.
So by forcing my super advanced smartphone to act like an old Nokia, they bypass all of its modern security features.
That's it, precisely. And once you're on 2G, they can see your texts, listen to your calls, maybe even push malware onto your device. It's a forced vulnerability.
So who is they? Are we talking about spies? The NSA?
Well, sure, the big intelligence agencies have had these for years, but what the procurement documents show is how widespread this has become. The FBI uses them. ICE. The U.S. Marshals even put them on small planes and fly them over cities.
Wow. Just scooping up data from the air.
They call it dirtboxing. But the ACLU reports we looked at were maybe the most eye-opening. They found dozens of local police departments buying these things. Cops in North Carolina, California, Florida.
And the names. Kingfish, Hailstorm. They don't hide what they're for, do they?
Not at all. And these units are not cheap. The official ones can cost, up to $200,000.
Which keeps them in government hands, I guess.
It used to, but here's the kicker from the security research papers. That barrier to entry, it's collapsing.
How far?
Try $400.
You're kidding. 400.
Nope. With a piece of hardware called a Blader F, it's a software-defined radio, you can get it on Amazon, and a laptop with some open source code. A hobbyist can build their own IMSI catcher.
That changes everything. It's not just the FBI anymore. It could be anyone. A stalker, a corporate rival.
It completely democratizes this kind of surveillance. The threat model is totally different now.
Okay, so that's the hardware. Stingrays catching signals in real time. But what about this second layer? Geofencing. You said that's different.
Right. If a Stingray is an active trap, a geofence is more like digging through historical records. It's about software, not a physical box nearby.
A virtual perimeter. That's the term for the documents.
Yeah, think of it like drawing a circle on a digital map. It uses all the location data our phones are constantly generating, GPS, Wi-Fi signals, Bluetooth. All that data gets stored by service providers.
And the sources show two really different uses for this. One side is almost helpful. Commercial and safety stuff.
Almost, yeah. They use it to keep drones out of airports. Or, like, a railway worker's vest will buzz if they step outside a designated safe zone. A virtual tap on the shoulder, they call it.
But then there's the marketing side, the retargeting pool.
That's the term, yeah. So you walk into a store, right? You don't buy anything, don't even talk to anyone. But because your phone crossed that invisible geofence at the door, your device ID gets added to a list. You're in the pool.
And for the next month, I see ads for that store everywhere.
Exactly. You've been digitally tagged. But where it gets really serious is how law enforcement is using this. They call it a reverse location search.
The dragnet idea.
Right. Normally, the police have a suspect, and they get a warrant for that person's data. This flips it. They have a crime scene or maybe a protest, and they don't have a suspect.
So they draw a circle.
They draw a circle, and they go to Google or a data broker and say, give me a list of every single device that was inside this circle between 2 and 4 p.m.
So if I'm just walking my dog nearby, or I live in the apartment above where something happened, suddenly I'm a person of interest.
You're on the list. And the burden of proof kind of shifts to you. It's a huge privacy issue. You become part of an investigation just by existing in a public space at the wrong time.
So Stingrays and Geofences are all about the phone, which means if I just leave my phone at home, I'm safe, I'm a ghost.
Well, that's what you'd think.
But
Okay.
this third level in the documents, this is where it got really strange for me. We're moving from tracking a device to tracking biology.
The Wireless Body Area Network, or WBT.
It sounds like pure science fiction, but you're telling me this is based on actual published technical standards.
It is. IEE 802.15.6. It's a real thing. And the initial goal is perfectly legitimate. It's for medical tech. Think pacemakers, glucose monitors, smart patches on your skin. They all need to talk to each other.
And they use your phone as the hub.
Exactly. The phone becomes the gateway for all your body's data. Heart rate, how you walk, your body temperature. The papers call it human activity recognition.
But the concern is that these signals, they don't just stay inside your body, they broadcast.
They have to. And if they transmit, they can be intercepted. The documents talk about how your unique biological signature, the rhythm of your heart, the way you move, can act as a kind of digital twin.
So my heartbeat is my password.
In a way, yes. And that means if someone wants to identify you, they might not need your face or your phone. They just need to pick up that biological signal.
One of the military papers used the phrase cognitive warfare. That sounds intense.
It's part of a doctrine called network-centric warfare. The idea is that you can monitor the biological signs of stress or fatigue in your soldiers or your enemies in real time.
The sensor-to-shooter loop I've read about.
That's the one. Linking a biological reading from a sensor directly to a command decision. But even outside a war zone, the tech is being developed. They talk about using passive radar or changes in Wi-Fi signals in a room to detect a person's breathing.
Without them carrying anything at all.
Without anything. Your body just disturbs the electromagnetic field around you. We emit heat, we block signals. The sensing city concept is that if you have enough sensors in the walls, the lights, the air vents, you can track people just by the shadow they cast in that data field.
So leave your phone at home isn't the answer anymore.
You can't leave your heartbeat at home. That's the shift. We're moving from tracking what you carry to tracking what you are.
And all this data from the Stingray, the Geofence, these biosensors, it has to be stored somewhere.
It flows into the database. Specifically, a system the documents call HART.
HART, Homeland Advanced Recognition Technology.
It's the new generation system replacing the old fingerprint databases, and the scale is just immense. It's designed to hold files on over 270 million people.
That's basically everyone in the country.
Pretty much. And it's multimodal, so it's not just your fingerprints. It's your face scan, your iris scan, your voice print, maybe even your DNA. It's built to ingest everything.
And this is where the aerial surveillance, like Gorgon stare, comes in?
Exactly. That's the collection funnel. It's called wide area motion imagery. So instead of a camera zooming in on one car, imagine a drone taking a photo of an entire city every second for hours.
It's like a live recording of a whole city.
It's like TiVo for a city, yeah. So if something happens at 4 p.m., they can just rewind the entire city, zoom in, and watch where every single car and person came from that day. It removes the anonymity of being in a crowd.
Okay, so this is a pretty complete picture of a surveillance state.
Yeah.
Fake towers, data dragnets, biological tracking. Is there any good news here? Are there ways to fight back?
There is pushback, yeah. The privacy and security community is building tools.
I saw one in the notes called Ray Hunter.
Right, that's from the Electronic Frontier Foundation, the EFF. It's designed specifically to detect stingrays.
How does it work? Is it an app?
It's an audit tool. You can run it on really cheap hardware, like a $30 mogul hotspot. And it just sits there and analyzes the cell network around you, looking for those weird things we talked about.
Like the forced downgrade to 2G.
Exactly. Or if it sees a tower that's acting suspiciously, asking for your ID, but never actually connecting a call, it basically flags the network and says, hey, something isn't right here.
It makes the invisible visible.
That's the first step. The next step is hardening your own device. We talked about how dangerous 2G is. The expert consensus is you have to be able to turn it off.
But I can't do that on my phone. There's no switch for it.
On a normal consumer phone, no, it's usually locked down. This is why a lot of privacy advocates recommend custom operating systems like Graphene OS. On there, you can literally go into the settings and flip a switch that says, never connect to 2G.
So even if a Stingray is screaming at your phone, the phone just says, nope.
I don't speak that language. It completely shuts down that specific attack. It's a very powerful countermeasure.
That's a concrete step, which is good. But I'm still stuck on the biological tracking part. If the room itself is sensing me, a secure phone doesn't really help, does it?
And that's the fundamental tension. We are moving from a world where privacy was about securing your things, your devices, to a world where it has to be about shielding your own biology. And we don't have a Graphene OS for our bodies. Not yet, anyway.
You can't put your heart in airplane mode.
You can't. And that really synthesizes what all these documents are pointing towards. The whole idea of going off the grid is changing.
It used to just mean switching off your phone.
Right. But in a sensing city, which is the term they're using, the grid is the environment itself. The walls literally have ears and thermal sensors and passive radar.
So what's the big takeaway from all this? We've gone from hacker tools to military doctrine.
I think the takeaway is that surveillance is becoming environmental. It's not an action that happens to you anymore. It's the atmosphere you live in.
It's the air you breathe.
And the pavement you walk on. Knowing this stuff changes how you see the world. You know about stingrays. Suddenly you're suspicious of a bad connection. You know about geofences. You think twice before taking your phone to a sensitive meeting. And knowing about W-bands, that makes you question what a smart world is actually for.
It certainly does. We started with cookies and we ended at biophotons.
And this isn't theory. The standards are written, the budgets are passed, the hardware's in the air. This is all operational right now.
You know, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought. If the grid can really read our heartbeat, our gait, just from us being in a room, do we need a new word for privacy? Because private always implied you could, shut the door. But what happens when the door itself is a sensor?
Then maybe being truly alone becomes the greatest luxury of the 21st century.
Something to think about the next time you get an ad for hiking boots. Thanks for joining us for the deep dive.
Stay safe.